I have hundreds of people I could text right now, and there's not a single one I'd actually call if everything fell apart. That's not really a flex about being independent. That's more of a problem. And I think about this more than I want to admit. We're the most connected people who have ever lived. I can see what someone I haven't talked to in 3 years ate for breakfast. Or I could watch a stranger on the other side of the planet cry in their car. And I'm reachable every second of the day by anyone. And somehow, we're even lonelier than any other generation that came before us. Not even by a little. It's measurable. They're calling it an epidemic. Loneliness. It's like a disease you can catch. And maybe it is. I used to think loneliness was about being alone. It's not. You can be alone and completely at peace. And the worst loneliness I've ever felt was in a room full of people I've known for years, realizing that not a single one of them actually knew me. They knew the version of me that I would post, the one who's locked in and grinding and smiling, always smiling. Because that's the rule now. You're allowed to be busy. You're allowed to be winning. You're just not allowed to be lonely. So we all stand around performing okay at each other, thinking about how we don't even hang out anymore. We don't hang out. We just link up. And link up takes like 3 days of texting and usually gets canceled the last day anyway over something small. We've turned friendship into logistics, into something you schedule, something that has to fight everything else for a slot in your week. And I just miss being bored with people, just sitting in a room with nowhere to be and nothing to do, because that's where the real stuff comes out. Not when you plan it, when there's a gap and somebody fills the silence with something true. We just don't have any gaps anymore. The second it goes quiet, we reach for our phones or start scrolling on TikTok or watching Netflix. We've never been bored together. And I think we lost something massive there, because being bored together is basically what closeness is built on. And dating, oh my gosh, we've turned people into a feed. Swipe left, swipe right, swipe, swipe, swipe. There's always just something else. Always a slightly better option one thumb away. And when you genuinely believe that, you never really invest in the person in front of you, because why would you? Why sit through the awkward part? The part where you don't even know each other, when you could just open the app and start over with someone new. But real closeness needs you to stay through the awkward part. It needs friction. It needs you to be a little uncomfortable and not run away. And we built an entire system designed to let us run the exact second it stops being easy. We call it keeping our options open. Options aren't intimacy. Options are just a really polite way of never choosing anyone. And underneath all of it, I think the real thing is what we stop being, is that we stop being willing to be seen. Especially with guys. We learned somewhere along the way that needing people is weak, that admitting you struggle is weakness. So we got really good at the opposite, at being self-contained, at the "I'm good, bro," whenever someone asks you how you're doing. Or turning every real feeling into a joke before anyone can take it seriously. And it works. Nobody ever really sees you struggle. But nobody sees you at all. And that's the trade you actually make. You can't be half seen. You can't show people only the highlight reel and lock in on the grind and then quietly wonder why you feel like a stranger to everyone. You hid, and it worked. And that's the whole tragedy. And the part I can't pretend I'm above is that I've done all of this. I've canceled plans. I've left people in red because answering felt like a lot of effort. I kept people at a distance and called it focus. I picked the easy, lonelier version over the hard. Closed one 1,000 times because the easy one is never anything. That's the thing nobody tells you about intimacy. It is not convenient. It was never supposed to be. It costs you time you could have spent on yourself. It costs you the risk that you have to open up and potentially get hurt. It asks you to be inconvenienced by other people, to be needed, to need. And we built a world where you never have to be inconvenienced by anyone ever again. Food can just show up at your door. Your TV constantly gets new shows updated every single week. You never have to call anyone, you can text them. You never have to sit in boredom or loneliness or discomfort for even a second. We've practically optimized every way of anything uncomfortable. And intimacy was hiding inside the discomfort the entire time. And I don't have a 5-step fix for this. I'm still figuring it out the same as you are. But one thing I've started doing is that when I catch myself about to text someone, sometimes I'll just call them instead. When I feel that pull to disappear and walk away from things and just be alone, sometimes I let someone in instead. And when people ask me how I'm doing, I try to tell them the real answer. Not always it's hard or it feels stupid. Like, I try to be exposed and open. But every time someone has to actually let me in, or I've let them in, it's been worth it. Every time. I've never once regretted being close to someone, even if they've hurt me, because that's what makes intimacy so perfect. I've only ever regretted the walls. So, if there's someone you've been keeping at arm's length, someone you miss, someone you've been performing the fine at for way too long, text them. Actually, no, call them. Call them today. Because we were never actually meant to do any of this alone. We just got really, really good at pretending we are.